Yay! Happy Thursday! Miss Knowles, it is the last day of September. Can you believe it?
I know, it's crazy. Crazy.
My gosh. Take it away, DJ. Lay it down.
Of course. What's up, guys? Good morning. Good morning. Happy Thursday. All right, here. Let's get ourselves started for the day. Here we go. Come on, don't fit me now, technology. There we go. Welcome back to Roos News 5 Live, and we're ready to get started. There we go. Today is Thursday, September 30th, 2021. And like Dr. Nova just said, last day of September. Let's make it a great one. All right. May everyone please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Perfect. All right, let's get it going. Let's keep it going. Lunch today, choice number 1 is a yogurt and bagel. Choice number 2 is a ham and cheese sandwich. Choice number 3 is a New York beef burger. En español, opción 1 is yogurt y bagel. Opción 2 is sandwich de jamón y queso. Opción 3, Nueva York hamburguesa de carne. So please choose wisely. And you guys are lucky you get burgers today, straight out of New York. This is from Miss Caputo. Just a reminder that Cowan Ford, Iacono Mackley, Rosa, and Venegas Smith's class will have their band lesson today during PE classes. Gagliardi maybe will have their band lesson during recess today. Lessons will be in the cafeteria. Please bring your Chromebook. Okay, that's from Miss Caputo for everyone in band, okay? All right. Last thing. What is seen in the middle of March and April but can't be seen in the beginning or end of them? All right? Think wisely. Sit on this. All right? And I am done. Back to you, Dr. Nova.
I actually think I know the answer to this one, which I am super excited about, so I'm going to come find you later. But I am going to bring in Miss Puello to see if she has any announcements for us today.
Thank you so very much, and good morning. The only announcement that I have today is that we're starting a new lunch procedure this afternoon. So please make sure that when you come to lunch outside, because it's a beautiful day, please remember that every single class will eat lunch first and then have recess. We are very excited to try this new procedure. Please remember to sit 6 feet apart. Thank you. Por favor, le quiero recordar que hoy es un día muy bello y vamos a comer afuera. Por favor, sepan que todos los niños van a comer primero y después van a tener recreo. Y por favor, recuérdense de que tienen que mantenerse 6 pies aparte cuando están comiendo. Gracias. Thank you, Dr. Nover.
Thank you so much, Ms. Puello, and for that great announcement. And there's some super exciting news that I think I texted you this morning, but I'm not sure. Our Gaga pit is being built today. So there is going to be some new recess activities, which is so exciting. So a huge shout out to our grounds crew. Mario's here, Carlos is here for the work that they're doing. So thank you to them. And I am just waiting for Miss Hayden's class to log in. So Miss Puello, can you run down the hall, make sure they're okay? Because our I keep using the word introducer. The student doing our introduction today is in that class. So let's get her here. And for everyone, I just wanted to remind you of some assembly expectations, because momentarily we will be introducing today's speaker, but we are going to wait for Adenise to join us in our broadcast, and then we will get started. So during the assembly today, even though it's virtual, please make sure that you're listening thoughtfully. Think about the experiences that our amazing speaker has had and how that might connect to you. We've got everybody here. And think about the ways in which you might apply the lessons that you've learned. Today is really about thinking about that polite expectation that we have. So without further ado, I am going to turn it over to Adenise, who's going to introduce our guest speaker.
I joined Volunteer New York in 2010 and became executive director in July 2020. After serving as an executive fellow for capacity building and networks with points of light in her previous role as deputy executive director, Jeanette focused on a mission delivery, overseeing programmatic strategy and cohesion, and supporting revenue generating specifically related to corporate outreach. Previously, Jeanette was New York Care's first director of volunteer relations, responsible for the recruitment and management of thousands of volunteers and hundreds of volunteer leaders. Jeanette started her career as an AmeriCorps Vista member. She holds a BS in management from Boston College and her master's in public administration from SUNY Barch. She is Worcester's native and lives in Cortland Manor with her husband and son.
Thank you so much, Adenise. And without further ado, Miss Jeanette Gisbert is coming live to our Roos News program.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me, Dr. Nover?
We got you.
Awesome.
I'm going to bring up your presentation and take Adenise and I away.
All right. Awesome. Adenise, thank you so much for that awesome introduction. I just want to say, first and foremost, I'm coming over for lunch because there are burgers and a Gaga pit. And I just think that that's amazing. And you guys are so lucky. And maybe I will come by. So first of all, good morning. My name is Jeanette Gisbert. I'm the executive director of an organization called Volunteer New York. Hola, mi nombre es Yané. Yo soy la directora de una organización llamada Volunteer New York. And I just want to say thank you so, so much for inviting me to speak to you during Hispanic Heritage Month about leadership. I am so, so happy to be here. I am a proud Latina. I am a proud first-generation Cuban American. I'm a proud daughter of immigrants. Soy una Latina orgullosa. Soy una orgullosa hija de inmigrantes. I was born right here in Westchester, in Tarrytown, just a few towns down the road from you guys. And my family's immigrant experience really shaped who I am as a person and as a leader. And that's what I'm here to talk to you guys about today. So my life and kind of how I've approached leadership has been guided by three core values. The importance of my family, the value of education, and in making a difference to our community. So my family left Cuba many years ago in the 1970s to offer future generations better opportunities. My mom and my abuela came and they cleaned houses for a long time. My tío worked in the hospital cafeteria. Everyone had a part-time. They had the job after the job. And everyone worked very hard in order to give us and future generations better opportunities. And this is actually a picture of my family from that time. That baby is me. And the folks around that are my abuela and my abuelo and my mom and my dad and my tíos and my tía. And they really showed and instilled in us how important family is, and how important it was to work very hard. But for me, my job was school. So I started school not speaking any English. My mom only spoke to me in Spanish. Yo empecé la escuela sin hablar nada de inglés. Mi mamá solo me hablaba en español. And at first, it was really hard. But I knew that if I studied, I could be successful. And al principio fue muy difícil, pero yo sabía que si yo estudiaba, que yo podría tener éxito. So that's what I did. I focused on studying and my education. And eventually I went to college. As Annalise said, I went to Boston College in Boston, Massachusetts. And there I studied how to run a business and accounting. And accounting, for those of you who don't know, accounting is the part of business that counts the money. And I knew that if a business made money or lost money, somebody had to count it. And therefore, I would always have a job, which was very important to me. So that's what I did. But I knew, even when I was in college studying business and accounting, that I wanted to make a difference, that I wanted to give back, because people all along the way had been very kind and generous to me and to my family. And I knew there was just something inside of me that felt like I wanted to pay it forward. So after about a year in accounting, I left accounting and I joined AmeriCorps. And AmeriCorps is a program where you spend a year volunteering somewhere in the United States. I did mine in Boston. And it was through AmeriCorps that I learned about this group of businesses, nonprofits that help community. And I knew that that's what I wanted to do. So, and that's what I do now. So I am the executive director of a nonprofit called Volunteer New York, and we help connect people to other nonprofits that need volunteers to accomplish their mission. And these are pictures of me kind of out in the community volunteering, because I think that when we have opportunities to take care of each other and support each other, and help everyone reach their full potential, that those are the kinds of communities that we can all feel really proud of, to live in and to be a part of. And I love what I do. I love that I get to connect people who want to get involved in their community with opportunities to do that. And one example of how we do that, which all of you might be interested in hearing about, is the Bio Bus. So next month, you will have a chance to see the Bio Bus. And that opportunity is happening because Volunteer New York is planning the project that will bring the Bio Bus to your school. And that became a reality because Volunteer New York connected Regeneron with your school. And so that's an example of how those connections and those relationships really kind of translate into really cool experiences and opportunities. So, you know, in closing, my values, the things that I had mentioned earlier that are really important to me, you know, family, education, and community, they have really influenced how I show up as a leader. And I try to treat people the way I want to be treated. I try to lead with authenticity, and I try to lead from a place of kindness. And I think that if we all do that, then we're all going to be successful. And I wanted to close with one of my favorite leadership quotes from Dolly Parton. I don't know how many of you might know that, might know Dolly, but Dolly tells us that if your actions create a legacy that inspires others to dream more, to learn more, to do more, and to become more, then you are an excellent leader. So thank you again so much for having me. Gracias de nuevo por invitarme. It was a real pleasure to be here, and I'm coming over for lunch.
Jeanette, Miss Gisbert, this was amazing. You need to come to lunch. You are welcome here anytime. And thank you for speaking to our student leaders about your journey, and your message about authenticity and kindness has really stuck with me. And now we have a few student leaders who submitted questions demonstrating their curiosity for your journey. So we are going to invite Sophia, then Edward, then Lucy, then Nayeem, and then Makai to ask these questions. So, Sophia, come on in and let's ask your question.
Hi.
Sophia.
Hi. What is it like to be a volunteer?
Oh my gosh, that is such a good question. So I think that we're all volunteers and we don't even know it. So when you check on your friend who maybe was sick one day and missed school, and you asked to and you offered to share your class notes, or if you have a neighbor that you see that wasn't really feeling so good, or you haven't seen them around in a few days, and you ask your mom or dad, or the grown-up in your life, kind of, we should go check on Mr. Jones. That's volunteering. And I think that when we do that, it feels really great. I think that's the secret. That's the secret that nobody tells you about volunteering, Sophia, is that you will feel so much better, and that you get more out of it than you give to others. So I think everyone should volunteer and check on their neighbors, and you'll see how great you feel afterwards. Great question.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sophia, for your awesome question. We are now going to bring in Eddie.
Hello.
Hi, Eddie, Yankee fan. Great job.
Hey. Who inspired you?
Who inspired me? That's another great question. So I maybe have a different answer. I have been inspired throughout my life by ordinary, extraordinary people. So there isn't a celebrity or a public figure that I can say, wow, that person really inspired me. I've been inspired by my family, people who've worked really hard to give, as I said before, their family opportunities. But I'm really inspired by just people in my community who decide to raise their hand and say, I can make a difference, and every small act matters. So it's just a reminder that everybody can serve, everyone can do something good. And those are the people that inspire me every day.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Eddie, thank you so much for that awesome question. I love it. Next, we are going to turn it over to Lucy. Lucy.
Oh my gosh, there's a glitch. I don't know how to. Sorry, hold on. Dang it.
It happens to everybody, Lucy. It happens to everybody. No worries.
It's doing that.
Could they type their question in maybe?
All right, we figured it out. Go ahead. Has anyone ever tried to bully you or bring you down? If so, how'd you cope with it or deal with it?
Oh my gosh, that's a really good question. So I think I've been really lucky to be able to say that I personally have not been kind of bullied in that way. But I think that here's my take on bullies, Lucy. There's this book that I've read to my son called The Bucket Book. I don't know if anyone's ever read it. And it's this whole idea that everyone walks around with an invisible bucket. And it's really like you feel good and you make other people feel good when you're filling other people's buckets. And when someone is a bully, it's because their bucket is empty and they're trying to take the stuff that's in your bucket. And so, because that's how they think that they can fill their own bucket, but we know that's not how it works. So I try to think about that when I hear about stories about people who are bullying and making other people feel less than. I kind of try to put myself in their shoes and think like, why are you behaving that way? Like, why are you making those choices? And it helps me kind of be a little bit more empathetic and kind of understand maybe why it is that they might be making those choices. So that's not exactly the answer to your question, but that's how I kind of try to think about it when I hear about those stories or maybe see something that is someone else not making a good choice.
I would say that's a good answer.
Thank you. Yay.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Lucy. All right, we are now turning it over to Nayeem for his question. Take it away, Nayeem.
What inspired you to join Volunteer New York?
Oh, gosh, these are really good questions, guys. So what inspired me to join Volunteer New York is after I finished my AmeriCorps year and I learned about these companies, these organizations that were helping community, I knew that I wanted to work at one of those companies. And there's so many of them and they're all doing really good work. And so then I thought to myself, which one do I want to work at? Which cause or which part of the community do I want to work with? Do I want to work with seniors or kids or the environment? What do I want to do? And what I realized was I couldn't pick one. And so for me, Volunteer New York, volunteers, all of those other organizations need volunteers. And so I realized that if I went to work for an organization like Volunteer New York, I could help all of them by doing my work. So I think that's how I chose to work for an organization like Volunteer New York, because Volunteer New York helps every other nonprofit. And then I didn't have to choose.
Good answer. Thank you.
Thanks.
I love it. We have one more question from our students in Miss Hayden's room. So let's bring in Makai with our final question of the day. And Miss Hayden, thank you for all of your technical support. We all lead and volunteer in meaningful ways.
Okay.
What do you do as a leader?
What do I do as a leader? Good question. I think it depends. I think it depends on kind of where you're leading from and where you are. So I think that from my point of view, a leader should be someone that helps other people be successful, right? And so you want to give other folks the opportunity to reach their goals. I think a leader tries to, works hard to be a good listener so that you can, help others. And as I said before, I think leadership is about empathy and about kindness. And so if you can, be those things, then I think you're being a leader no matter where you are.
Thank you so much, Makai, and thank you to everybody. So, Miss Gisbert, there is a special guest who does want to say hello to you. And for everyone, we do have a special surprise guest. But Miss Gisbert, at the start of this, we were talking about the ways in which you need to leverage your people. And really, as you think about your networks that are all around you, we're all connected in different ways. And I learned about Miss Gisbert and her work from someone who's really important to our school district. And that would be our very own superintendent, Dr. Sanchez. Dr. Sanchez, do you want to say anything to our student leaders as well?
I just want to say that can you hear me?
We got you.
That I have been inspired the whole morning. And I want to thank our boys and girls let me rephrase that, our leaders for their great questions, and Ms. Gisbert, i.e. my cousin, for inspiring as well. I left here, again, inspired by her words and by the questions that our students have said. I do have one question before she leaves, and you can put it into the chat, but do you have a favorite older cousin is really a question I have for you. And just remember, this is being videotaped, but you can recuse yourself from that question.
Yeah.
Think about it. Remember, I put it in a category of older cousin, not younger cousin.
The message is you never want to upset your primos.
No,
So
you
you just say, I love everyone equally.
We know what that means.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for letting me join, and thank Jeanette for being here as well. So
Thanks for inviting me.
Good to see everybody, and thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sanchez. Ms. Gisbert, thank you so much for being here. Before we close out, just incredible gratitude from all of our students and the message that you shared with them today. And you've given me a lot to think about. As I think about like LEAD as an acronym, you talked about listening, you talked about empathy, you talked about authenticity. So I am going to challenge all of our student leaders to think of a word that starts with D that might kind of capture this message about leadership. So just like Ms. Knowles gives you those challenges, what D word really captures leadership? I'm going to bring everyone in to say goodbye. So, and then we'll go off the screen. I think I could do this, bringing everyone in to say goodbye. Thank you so much, Ms. Gisbert. Have an amazing day, everybody.
You guys, you too. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye, everyone. Gracias.
Bye.